Today, we're talking about Benchmade. What's up, Internet Land? I'm Pastor Kirk. You're back with the Tactical Pastor. I hope that you are having a fantastic day today. I want to weigh in for just a second on all the craziness that is swirling about the state of Oregon. I can't call it my home state, but it's where I call home right now. And Benchmade knives. Listen, this is as close to home as it gets. I've been to their factory store. I'm a huge Benchmade fan. You guys have probably seen Benchmade stuff scattered across my tool bench. So we're gonna talk about some Benchmade knives today. We're gonna review the ones that I've got, talk just really quickly about them, and we're gonna weigh in on what's going on and the craziness. How should we Christians be responding to controversy? Should we be running around looking for crazy things to be offended about all the time? Let's get to the knives. Here we go. I got tons of knives. I love knives. Knives make me happy. I got Gerber knives. I got Outdoor Edge miniature tactical razor blade knives. I got Real Avid knives. I've got all kinds of different knives. And I gotta tell you that in recent years, there has been one brand that has stood the test to the point where Christmas presents that I buy for people, things for my tactical vest, keychain stuff, everyday carry, trainers. So let's clear the board. Let's talk a little bit about these knives that I've got right here today. We are looking for a reason to hate people. We are looking for a reason to be upset. And I'm gonna tell you right now, there are gobs and gobs of reasons to love this company. Let's clear the board. My first Benchmade knife was this Osborne design. I absolutely love it. As you can see, it has been well loved. It has been well used. This knife has functioned as my everyday carry knife for, I think, 2 years now. I boogered up the blade like you would not believe a while back. I was visiting Oregon City. I took it in. They took one look at it and went, ugh, but they fixed it. They took it to the back. They disassembled the whole thing. Once a year, you can take your auto knives in. And actually, you can probably do it more than once a year, but they recommend once a year. You can take your auto knives in. They completely disassemble the whole thing, and free of charge, mind you. And they take the whole thing apart, go through it, they lubricate, they check everything, they make sure it's running right. It slowed down a little bit last year before I took it in, and that was just solely because it was full of gunk from my pocket from being used. It would 100% stand up to an attacker. I could use this in self-defense. Generally I'm carrying one deadly force option all of the time, but just in case, I can't get to this, or my hand is pinned, or God forbid, someone gets this away from me, I have a backup weapon. This knife is my daily carry knife. My son is 9.5 years old. For Christmas this year, he received this knife. It is absolutely beautiful. I can't even describe to you how much I love this knife. I could have bought a junk knife and said, hey, you know what? Show me that you can take care of this knife and then I'll buy you a good knife. But I decided to go the opposite direction. Maybe it's gonna bite me in the butt, I don't know. But I chose to go through Benchmade, get him a fantastic hunting knife. I wanted something that he could carry into the woods. This has got a really super neat nylon sheath inside. It protects that knife. The thing that I absolutely love about this knife is this knife, if he takes care of it, will last him his whole life. But this is his knife. This is the knife that he will carry with him on every hunting trip from now on. He took his first deer before Thanksgiving, and I wish he would have had this knife for us to process that deer together. I love the blade shape. It's gonna clean and it's going to skin really, really nice with this super great swoop to it. Absolutely just dirty sharp. Some of you are gonna poo-poo me and think that I'm a weirdo for getting such a nice knife for a 9.5-year-old, and I just don't care. I bought this for Christmas for another one of my loved ones, and this is their daily carry, and they can have this with them for opening boxes or self-defense. This is the new bug out, and it is very lightweight. Weight was a big concern. Perfectly fantastic for self-defense or for opening boxes. Have something quality or don't have it at all, right? This rides in one stripe of the Molly on my plate carrier. You've seen this before. Dependable, heavy duty. It would be a brutal thing to try to take away from somebody, and I am absolutely super impressed with it. You could grab a hold of this knife and just box and just go to work, and you could do some serious self-defense damage. That actually comes with a trainer. They have a great little keychain sharpener that I carry with me most everywhere I go. Because I found that when I boogered up this blade, I was using a sharpening system that was not really meant for this knife, and this is perfect little, put an extra edge on it. Absolutely fantastic. Are there better custom knife companies out there? Are there knives that you could spend bajillions of dollars more and get a better knife than this? Absolutely. Is there better steel out there? Yeah, there is. But in my opinion, not in the price point that Benchmade lands in. And honestly, this knife is darn near indestructible. The wood is impregnated with resin, so it is incredibly tough, incredibly durable. It's not going to be expanding and contracting and cracking and busting off. I'm not poo-pooing or saying anything bad about Gerber. I love Gerber. Gerber makes some great stuff. Leatherman makes some great stuff. All three Oregon companies, all three absolutely fantastic. So the question about Benchmade right now really has nothing to do with the quality. Let's pop up to the heads up, have a conversation. All right, I hope that was encouraging. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something. And I'll tell you what, if these videos are valuable to you, if you're learning anything, you're appreciating anything, or shoot, you're just glad that a pastor's talking about this stuff, would you do me a favor and just hit like for me and maybe even hit subscribe? It's a ton of help to me. Let me know down in the comments section things you want me to be talking about as the tactical pastor. I'm a gigantic Benchmade fan, if I'm being honest. That it's a spectacular company. They are world renowned. I don't know that there's a better mass-produced knife manufacturer out there. Are there custom knife companies that are building these quality, super high-end? Yes, absolutely there are. But we're talking about a mass-produced company that generally you can get what you want when you want it. If you're paying any attention whatsoever, you know that the other day a very irresponsible, and I'm a law enforcement chaplain, folks. I love law enforcement. It takes a lot for me to call out and critique law enforcement, but I'm gonna say a very irresponsible member of the Oregon City Police Department made a very out of context post. Thanks, Benchmade, for helping us destroy these guns. And that was basically it. And didn't finish the story, didn't give any kind of context whatsoever. And then all of a sudden the 2A community and the gun owning community, which is a gigantic community in the United States, lost their ever-loving minds when they thought that Benchmade was assisting the state of Oregon in destroying guns. Now, what you need to understand is there is a gigantic 2A outcry right now in the state of Oregon. The state of Oregon very much wants to strip gun owners of their rights, very much wants to remove any functionality to our gun ownership, all those things. It's just absolutely crazy. Benchmade was then put in the light of being on that team, and that's absolutely not the case. And then I know it got worse. People did some digging, trying to run down their political donations, and yes, over the span of a bunch of years, they've given upwards of about $30,000 to some seriously leftist politicians here in the state of Oregon, which, by the way, is mostly all the politicians, right? That's just how it works. If you need to get anything done politically in this state, you're going to have at least some relationships inside of a very left-leaning government as far as Oregon goes, right? They were supporting a trade school program by funneling money through politicians into a program that gave some scholarship money to a trade school where they get their machinists from. Those were not dollars to help people get reelected. Those were not dollars to help forward the leftist agenda. It was a donation to help a trade school for the most part. If you are all hot and bothered about those donations, if you're all hot and bothered about what's going on with them as a company, I would counsel you to take a breath. Conservatives, we have become as reactionary as the left in some cases. A football player does something that you don't like, and all of a sudden you run out in the backyard and you burn the $100 jersey. As a pastor, I think that's absolutely silliness. I don't think there's anything in scripture that tells us that we should be that reactionary to things. If you feel the need to burn your Benchmade knives, I'm just gonna ask you to just pause for just a second and think, okay? They are tools, they are inanimate objects that have already been paid for, okay? I think that you would actually make the same or better statement by either selling them used or donating them to a great cause. I'm going to make a suggestion of where you could donate that knife. I think that Benchmade is very 2A. They've also given lots and lots of money to 2A organizations. They have been very supportive of those things. Please don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Please be logical and don't just react to stuff. Yes, it kind of looks bad on the offset, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's an upstanding company. They take great care of their people. They don't have a giant turnover rate. Those are very rare things in 2019. Ultimately, they were not destroying guns for the sake of destroying guns. They were assisting a law enforcement agency in destroying evidence that had been ordered by the court to be destroyed. Please understand that inside of that, no law enforcement company on the planet is going to take on the liability to start reselling used guns. Imagine the mass crucifixion that would take place if they set up a booth at the gun show, sold some used guns, and a year down the road, a shotgun exploded and caused an injury to some person. That law enforcement agency would be absolutely burned at the stake. Guys, it cannot happen, and you have to be reasonable to understand that. Here's the story. I'm still a Benchmade customer. I'm still a fan of Benchmade. I still believe in what they do. You might disagree with that. You might think I'm crazy. Tell me down in the comment section below how crazy I am. That's fine. Give me a big fat thumbs down and yell at me and do all the things you want to do and blah, 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 blah. I believe that we are supposed to walk in forgiveness and we're supposed to walk in grace. I think that we are supposed to still be kind to people that we disagree with. You don't ever have to shop there again. We might disagree, but I need you to know that I love you. But that love pales in comparison to how much God loves you. Rest in that love this week. Go Kirk yourself.